This video is for my dead brothers in Syria,
and for my screaming mothers in Afghanistan,
for my crying sisters in Iraq,
and for my burned and hanged people of Burma,
to my crying children in Palestine,
and for the forgotten people of Somalia.
May God grant you justice and Jannah. How many of us read newspapers every day? How many of us know about the atrocities that are being committed around in this world? How many of us, even after reading about those atrocities, do something about it?
We've become a society that reads about all such things. Still we go around our own business as if it's nothing. Are we really that hollow? Are we that insensitive?
We apparently think that we live in this bubble where external forces cannot affect us. We forget to think that we forget to think about those kids who are dying out there and those people who are starving over there.
There was a saying before, ignorance is bliss. Yes, it was true at that point of time. The current scenario has changed completely. If you aren't aware of what's happening around you, you belong to that 89% of the stupid population.
The Arab uprising was one such example for this. There were countries in the Middle East that were swept through with political instability. This started from the 1970s and it has continued up till date. There were major countries like Libya, Morocco,
Egypt, and the worst of them all was Syria. That country has been affected the most because of this disaster.
What you all need to know about the Syrian conflict is Syria is now undergoing a civil war, an internal one. The thing is, Hafiz al-Assad, Bashar al-Assad's father, treated Syria like a dictatorship, and when he passed away, Bashar al-Assad came up. For the first few years, he showed Syrians heaven. It apparently looked like heaven for all of them. But when he saw that a power struggle was coming up, he realized that he wanted to stay in power, so he started oppressing his own people. Now for a politician, that is the limit. When you start oppressing your own people, it means you are unworthy of that top spot. Now the civil war is composed of two components. One, the government forces, and the other one, the rebellion forces. The government forces are now backed by Russia. Russia is backed by different other countries, but that is of no importance here. And whereas the rebellion groups are now funded by the United States of America.
Did you know that roughly 500,000 people have been killed up till now? 6 million people have been displaced externally, 5 million people have been displaced internally. These people, they have lost their home now and they're struggling to find a new home. Every day they face problems like shortage of food, clean water sources, even they treat the children, to treat the sick people, health processes also are not available.
My friend from Harvard Business School recently happened to spend a fortune to go into Gauta. Recently happened to spend a fortune to go into Gauta and Dauma and see the uprising firsthand. He apparently told some real-life incidents which he witnessed over there. So at the end of the night, they all sat together around a bonfire and the elders spoke among themselves and he happened to ask them to relate as to what had happened in the past 8 years. A few prominent life incidents which he told us were, so he happened to meet this teacher who told that he had a 13-year-old student. This girl, she had flunked 3 subjects and in the morning she had gone and asked the teacher that in the night the teacher would visit her home to tell her parents about her performance. So she asked him as to what he was going to tell them. You know what happened? This teacher went to her home that night. But instead of conveying about the results, about the 3 subjects she had failed, he went there to tell them that their only child was dead. Because there had been a bombing in the school building and 3 of the 4 blocks which surrounded the school had been destroyed and totally demolished due to the warfare which was active in Syria. Another story which he told was about
the janaza one.
Yeah,
it's pretty much similar to that one. In Islam, we have a concept like we pray 5 times a day. But there's another special prayer we pray, which is like to pray for the person who died recently. So this prayer, like in other normal countries, it's prayed very infrequently. But this prayer has been prayed every day 5 times because the number of people that are dying are very high.
And another one of the disheartening stories which he told us was there was this 5-year-old kid who was suffering from a disease. And the doctors, these were expert surgeons in Syria, one of the best who studied abroad and then come back. These doctors happened to write a letter to the Syrian government asking them to stop the bomb strikes, the shelling which were being done in Ghouta, so that they could procure medicines from the nearby Red Cross Society. But what happened was the government looked up the letter, put the seal on it, and still did not stop bombing the area. This 5-year-old kid who was ridden with disease now had died in front of 13 of the best doctors in Syria. He was lying there motionless on the table, but the doctors couldn't do anything.
You just could see how, just for power, how people lose humanity. There's been many things, yet we complain. Be grateful for what you have been given with. You're amongst the most fortunate ones in the world. Help the other people around you who are unfortunate. We rise by lifting others. My favorite footballer, Zinedine Zidane, he once said, I used to cry because I didn't have shoes to play football with my friends. Then I saw a man who had no legs and I realized how rich and fortunate I am.
What we do is we put our focus, our everything into these politicians who we think that they represent us. But if you see at the United Nations today, they're all concerned about their own egos, their own arrogance, and all that they do is go to the best hotels in the world, wear the best suits, drink the finest champagnes, and do nothing for us. Do you all even know that the Syrian children are now spending $80 to buy one loaf of stale bread? Yes, it is stale bread. My friend who happened to eat this bread for a week, when he came back to the United States, he fell sick for almost 4-5 weeks. He couldn't attend his next term. What we are failing to understand is, I know we cannot go there, we cannot help those children, but when you look around our own country is undergoing a political paradigm shift. We're looking at children who are not supposed to be working at that age, but they're contributing to the child labor in our economy. We're looking at people who have not got proper jobs even though they're fully qualified. The only way we will rise is by educating ourselves first.
Exactly. Try to go out and help people around you. That's what makes a difference.
What we do is when people come and ask us for something, when you see a beggar begging, we give them money or some other thing which can help them live momentarily. What we are not doing is helping build their lives so that they don't have to depend on someone else. This is not us asking you, but those women, those children who have been afflicted with casualty across the world. Don't tell me that you don't have the resources to do things. See, we are what we believe we are. For so many generations, we've been oppressing, even though we don't know that we've done all this stuff, but it has still come back to haunt us in any other way. There is this quote that my teacher tells us. It does not matter what you have. What matters is what you do with what you have.
Exactly. Now, in our world and their world is completely different. We over here, we stress about our education. Over here, we have kids who struggle to find 2 square meals a day. Over here, we are afraid of our exams. Their fear is, are they going to survive the next day? We wake up in the morning because of the sound of our alarms. Over there, they wake up because of the sound of the bombs.
There is this quote by Gandhi. We are the change we want to see in this world. He basically meant to say, if you want to see a change in the world, be an example for it. Don't keep voicing over your opinions. There are hundreds of thousands of people who will tell you that this government is bad. But have you ever seen them working towards it? Same goes with Steve Jobs. He also at a conference in the United States, he said that the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who